How they do all this. We left in the third quarter. So I asked her, I said, Kendall, what did you learn about women's basketball, college basketball? She says, I know Baylor's a whole lot better than Texas. So, I thought that was a pretty astute observance from a 10-year-old. I looked at Coach Mulkey's bio on the Baylor Athletics website, and I've got to tell you, as a superintendent for 17 years in the school district, I've seen hundreds, thousands resumes and bios. I have never seen anything as incredibly significant as this bio. I picked out just a few things I thought I would share as an introduction tonight. It's the best bio I've ever seen without question. Coach Mulkey is truly a winner in every way. A native of Hammond, Louisiana, she played baseball with the boys' Pony League team as a child, and guess what? Made the All-Stars. Is anybody surprised by that? I'm certainly not. She led Hammond to her Hammond High School team to 4 straight state basketball championships and had a 136-5 record as a player at her high school. This next thing really brings me joy, though, as a public school educator for 31 years. She was also valedictorian with a perfect 4.0 GPA. That's incredible. That's called a great high school career. At Louisiana Tech University, her teams combined for a 130-win, 6-loss record as a player, 4 Final Fours, 2 national championships. She was also the National Player of the Year. And did I mention she was Olympic gold medalist and Olympic champion in the 1984 games as a player? Baylor University made a wise decision and hired Coach Mulkey in 2000. The program was 7-20 the previous season, and they'd had losing seasons 13 of the last 17 years. They're now a national powerhouse program known nationwide. She has 2 national championships, including a perfect 40-0 record in 2012. She's coached numerous Baylor All-Americans and National Players of the Year. 13 of her players have been drafted into the WNBA. Her record of 539-98. That's about an 85% winning percentage, is incredible. And I must mention that record does include the twice-a-year beatdowns of the Texas Longhorns. So painful. Inducted into the National High School Hall of Fame, this is incredible. Inducted into the Louisiana High School Hall of Fame. Inducted into the Louisiana Tech Athletics Hall of Fame, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame, and the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Coach Mulkey is also a winner off the court. Both of her children are amazing student athletes. Daughter Mackenzie is a 4-year player at Baylor, played on the national championship team in 2012. She's currently the Associate Director of Basketball Operations at Baylor. Her son Kramer, All-American baseball player from Louisiana State University, twice played in the College World Series, drafted in the 4th round in Major League Draft by the St. Louis Cardinals, and is playing in their minor league system. That's not always been easy for Coach Mulkey. In her book, Won't Back Down, she shares some of the things that have shaped her life and the trials that she's had to overcome. She may share some of those tonight. But isn't that what winners do? They focus, they overcome, and they keep on winning.
Had to see whose hand I was shaking there. That was a UT coach last year. Can y'all hear me? It's gotten a little cooler. I was going to tell all the guys that have coats on, stand up and take your coats off. You know you want to. It's okay. First of all, I'm honored that you asked me to speak. 90 years after my mother back in Louisiana, she said, I thought you moved to Waco. So she started Googling McGregor. And my mother gave me a history lesson on McGregor in that you have a train that will take you from McGregor to Chicago, right? So my mother has this bucket list that's what she wants to do one day with me. And I said, Mom, I'll buy you the ticket, but I'm not getting on a train when I can ride in a plane. I thought I was going to come underdressed I picked out a nice outfit, had these nice heels, and then my secretary said, Kim, remember, it's in a hangar at the McGregor Airport. And I thought, unless they have air-conditioned hangars, I'm coming casual. So today I was out in the batting cage. I have a batting cage in my backyard. And, you know, it'll get algae on it and all that stuff. So I'm out there with a spray washer, you know, one of those power washers. And guys, I kid you not, I hit that power washer on my big toe and ripped it to shreds. So that helped me realize I will not show up too dressy and I will not wear anything but something casual tonight. So please forgive me, because that's the story as to why I'm very, very casual. I learned tonight a lot of things. And before I talk to you about what I wanted to talk to you about, I like your music. Could y'all hear the music? I'm just a country girl, and you can tell by the way I talk. And when I heard that music, it reminded me last night, Kramer, he's playing in Palm Beach, Jupiter, but he plays for the Palm Beach Cardinals, and it's in Jupiter. And he texts me, you know, all of us who have children understand you don't call anymore, you text. So when he texts late at night, he goes, Mom, I just got a bunch of brownie points from my roommates. He said, I'm singing all those old country songs you made us listen to growing up. And one of them was playing when I walked in. And so it makes you reminisce that, hey, I'm just a small town girl living in a lonely world. Aren't we all small town people? But you gotta have something to fight for in life, and you gotta have a niche that you find. So I thought, what am I gonna tell all these people? I'm not in my locker room. What am I gonna tell all these CEOs? Hell, I thought they were gonna give me that jet when I walked in this hangar, and I found out it's a Baylor Regent that owns that jet. Well, somebody tell me what Baylor Regent owns that jet, because he hasn't flown me in it yet. Let me know before the night is over. I thought about a couple of things to share with you. And I read these to my team. The word selflessness. Selflessness, not selfishness. Selflessness. And I saw this article, and it really hits home with me as a leader of a basketball team, as a leader of Baylor University. And I'm going to read it to you. You know, the big word these days, from athletics to the workplace, is culture. Every team has a culture. Good or bad, every team has a culture. While a good culture doesn't always guarantee a championship, a bad culture nearly guarantees that you won't win one. As coaches, we can only control so much. We can influence it, we can preach about it, we can model it, but we cannot 100% control it. Control of a culture ultimately falls on your players, the buy-in of it, and what happens when you're not around. Just like when you run a business. So my players are your employees. So let's talk about championship teams. Let's talk about players and the one common trait in the culture. Not this year's team, but last year. We got an incredible lesson from the Golden State Warriors. I did as a coach and as a fan of basketball. While there are many, many characteristics and qualities that contributed to their championship, I'm not talking about this year's team. One characteristic of last year's team really stood out to me. The word selflessness. Selflessness requires sacrifice. You look at that Warrior team, and those of you who are really into basketball will remember this. They traded David Lee, who was a key ingredient to their success. And everybody was like, wait, what? I mean, 4 seasons. I mean, the guy, he started all but 2 games. He was an NBA All-Star. He averaged, I think, a double-double. And then he got injured. And what's the rest of the story? Draymond Green, have you ever heard of him? He steps up. Now Lee becomes the forgotten player, the all-star, the double-double every night. He played the least amount of his games after Draymond Green stepped up. Lee was asked about his reduced time and his new role. And here are quotes that he said. David Lee, on my reduced role in the extra work that I put in after practice, either conditioning or playing extra games with other reserves, he said, when or if my number gets called again, I don't want to be out of shape and not ready for that moment. I see this, he said, as an opportunity to prove that I am a team guy, prove how much I care about winning. And if you know any dang thing about pro sports, I'm learning through baseball. I've watched kids in the minor leagues be happy going 4 for 4 and got their brains kicked out as a team. Ain't my kind of stuff. I'm about winning. I've watched kids struggle going 4 for 4 in the minor leagues and they hate it that they lost. Give me that kid. Because winning and losing matters to that kid. That other kid is selfish, and when the game's on the line, it'll be about him. David Lee went on to say all season long, it's about sacrificing. Not just me, he said, but other guys too. And that is why we won a championship. Anybody still watch? Another player that had to sacrifice was, I can't even say his name. Help me, Jim, all you NBA guys. Ingy Ndoli, the foreign kid. He was another key ingredient to their success. He had started every single game of his career. And then last season with the Warriors, he kind of gets shoved to the side. How many of us could do that? We all want to be me, 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 me. We all want to be in the McGregor mirror, right? Am I going to be in the McGregor mirror? Okay, make sure now. All right? How many of us could do that? I'm not sure many of us could do that. But at the end of the day, I'll ask my team this. Can anybody here tell me who the 5 starters were on my 40-0 basketball team? Maybe one player, Brittany Griner, all of you could say. The rest of you'd have to think, wouldn't you? Because at the end of the day, 20 and 30 years down the road, nobody gives a flip who started. What they will say, even these old Longhorns, will say, that team went 40-0, unbelievable. Baylor University, Waco, Texas. Are you kidding me? That's what they will remember. So as I read this, I got to thinking, this is a company. This is a CEO. This is employees. This is your peer next to you. And the last paragraph reads like this. You think about yourself second. You think about your company first. You think about your team first, and I promise you, you will get promoted. In due time, you will have that feel good about your company if it's not about you first. San Antonio Spurs. How many of you were Tim Duncan fans? I was. I was a Tim Duncan and am a Tim Duncan fan. You can look to them and see another example of selflessness. Go back to John Smoltz with the Atlanta Braves, Derek Jeter with the Yankees. The list goes on. Those selfless players are always on championship teams. I told Kramer when I left watching him play a couple of weeks ago, I'm learning about this pro stuff. It's not Kim Mulkey, I can tell you that. Because I would watch young men be so dang happy after losses. Now get it, they play 139 ball games, I understand. But the day you become complacent, that I went 4 for 4, heck, I'm going to be looked at, I'm moving up to AA, I might get to AAA. Probably true in a lot of organizations when you deal with pro sports. But at the end of the day, when you're in the big leagues, you just watch and see if the Derek Jeters aren't there. You just watch and see if the Tim Duncans aren't on those teams, because don't we all like winners? Don't we all like winners? Last couple of things on this and I'll move on. It is so hard to be selfless because sacrificing was not meant to be easy. Listen to what I said. Sacrificing a starting position was not meant to be easy. I don't want you on my team if you say, oh yeah, coach, I'm happy being on that bench. Nope. That's not what I'm saying here. First, you must understand there's a growing concern, not just with our youth. I'm not going to put it off on our youth. I'm going to put it off on us. There is a growing concern in culture now of the word entitlement. Yeah, preach it, mama. Entitled. Who in life told you it was fair? Ask the Herrings. You think it's fair they lost a child? Ask Kim Mulkey. You think it's fair she lost a grandchild? Nobody guaranteed us in life it was fair. But we got to keep digging. And we got to come up off that ground when we're at our lowest moment. Because life is not fair. Entitlement. The cold hard truth is that not everyone's going to play every minute of every game. Each role is important to the success of the team. Your role is different from your value. Your role is different from your value. As you sit and you look at your employees, this one may have raised $500,000 and this one may not be capable of doing it, but her value is hell of a lot better than yours. That's what CEOs and that's what leaders can see. You know, in my profession, you get fired if you don't, well, I shouldn't say that. Most of the time you get fired if you don't win. Right? Professors don't get fired if they go to that physics class and they stunk it up that day. We don't know, do we? But boy, we know if Kim Mulkey made a bad decision. Boy, we know if a player didn't do something on an execution of a play. Value to a team, value to a company. Selflessness requires sacrifice. Just remember that. Great teams and players understand that roles are constantly changing for the betterment of the team. Are you willing to buy in and sacrifice for your company and your team? Hard to do. The other thing I thought I would talk to you about is leaders. Y'all have heard it a million times. But in a locker room, you have 5 kinds of leaders. You have the performance leaders. Those are your great players, right? Everybody knows who the great players are. Got to have them to win. You also have to have a leader that's called a locker room leader. I had a player, she got her law degree from Baylor. The only one I've had get a law degree. Well, hell, we called her locker room lawyer. That was what we called her. We didn't call her by her first name because she was good in the locker room. She knew it all. The third kind of leader is social leaders. When I go out in this community and we do things, the great players are not always your good social leaders. They're just kind of introverted. They don't socialize very good. But somebody on that team is going to be your social leader, and everybody else is going to follow. The fourth kind of leader are called organizational leaders. They're always organized. They plan things. They do things as a team. They do things in the community, and they got it all mapped out. And then you also have reserve leaders. You don't win in anything in life with just this many players. We won a lot of games with 5 this year. In fact, I can remember a game where I set 2 of my top freshmen because they came in late for a team meeting and I only had 7 to play with. I was going to play with 4. It didn't matter to me. The lesson was plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built his ark. She got a speeding ticket on her way back to Baylor and got pulled over in Rosebud Lot. Okay, you did. I believe you. But you were late. The lesson there is, I bet she won't be late again. I bet she will give herself enough time to get from Houston back to Waco. And they felt awful. They were great kids. But don't you know they were some kind of happy when we won that game? So when I think about leaders, this won't mean anything to a bunch of you. My degree is in business administration. I was working on my MBA at Louisiana Tech when the president of Louisiana Tech called me out of my class, and I thought it was something tragic. The police came to get me. And what he wanted to tell me was Sanja Hogue was getting out of coaching. He wanted to give the job to Leon Barmore. I just graduated, played in the Olympics the previous year. This was in 1985. And he said, I want to give Leon the job, but I want you to coach with him. I said, oh, no, I've had enough of him. You know, you get tired. You want to move on. I'm going to be a CEO. I'm going to get on those corporate jets, and I'm going to fly all over the country. No, I'm not interested. Well, what a visionary he was. He said, Kim, you're a natural. And I said, who wants to have a coach shoved down their throat? Leon knows who he wants to go get, and I'm not going to be shoved down his throat. Well, needless to say, Leon called me, and the rest is history. I coached there for 15 years. I watch, I listen, I observe. And I remember sitting in a business class, and they were talking about CEOs of companies, and they started talking about the word authority. There's 2 kinds of authority. Y'all know what they are? Probably so. It's called relational authority. Relational authority is the ability to influence a group or an individual based on your relationship with them. You can influence regardless of an organizational chart. That relationship you develop with that coach as an administrator will make that coach bust their butt for you. That CEO of a company, that relationship you have with your employees will make them want to bust their butt for you. Not to be their best friend. You can't be their best friend. But you're in the trenches with them. You got their back. Relationship authority. Positional authority is so different. Positional authority kind of is military. I'm the head honcho, you answer to me, and and it goes on down the chain of command. Who wants to work for that? I don't. That doesn't motivate me. Positional authority is I'm above you, I can fire you. How many of you work for people like, don't raise your hand, you don't want to do that. Ask yourself, as a CEO and as a leader of a company, which one are you? Do you have those guys that you've proven your worth that will run through a wall for you because you would go in that wall with them? Or do you stay over here and you have that positional authority because you got a title by your name? So I'm sitting in that seat, sitting in that MBA class. And you won't believe this, but back in the day, I hardly opened my mouth in meetings, and I still to this day very rarely open my mouth in spring meetings at the Big 12. But I raised my hand and I said, because I'm being talked into going into coaching here, and I'm a sports fan. I mean, I study Nick Saban, I study all of them. And I raised my hand and I asked this question. CEOs in business, for the most part, make the most money, do they not? Right? CEO of General Electric or wherever, they make the most money. Athletics, I said, how can you compare a business CEO to athletic directors? They looked at me like I was growing a third eye. Because I raised my hand at that time and I said, are you telling me the athletic director at Alabama makes more money than Nick Saban? They started laughing, but they got my point. So you cannot, again, make that a standard across the board deal, because an athletic director is our CEO at all major universities, the CEO of companies. But you can't compare them because unfortunately, or fortunately for us coaches, I guess, we make more money sometimes than the athletic director. And they just looked at me and they said, Kim, you're so right. I said, I get what you're saying in the business world, but you need to also think about those of us that are in athletics. It doesn't work like that across the board. I am a big-time Nick Saban fan. Raise your hand if you like Alabama football. Now, really, guys, y'all can't all be Big 12, huh? Okay, let me ask you this. Who are Longhorn fans? Raise your hand. All right, who are the Aggies around here? Raise your hand. All right, who are the Baylor fans? Raise your hand. I grew up in SEC country. Now I'm in Big 12 country. Understand my point. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? You're either going to be a leader by relationships you have with the people that work for you, or you're going to be an authority figure that thinks, I'm your boss, do it my way or the highway. I don't want to be that kind. And see, that's the misconception people have of me. I can't tell you how many times my children and my players say, Coach, everybody thinks you're the meanest white woman in the world. And I go, shh, don't tell them any different. That is my competitive advantage, because most people who think that way don't know me. They don't know me. They don't care to know me. They judge me from a distance. And oh my God, Baylor was the, we whooped the hell out of Baylor for how many years, and now all of a sudden she's taught Baylor how to win, and we like it. We like it, so now I'm the bad person, and that's okay. I think of athletes, freshmen. Freshmen can be relational authority leaders. And they may not even be the best player, but boy, can they come in here as freshmen and can they really lead? You better believe it. Tell me Lauren Cox couldn't have been and wasn't a freshman relational authority leader on a team that had 4 seniors that year. And now you're seeing the real Lauren Cox. Y'all hanging with me? I'm about done. I'm always about motivating people. You have to keep fresh, you have to keep new, you have to stay hungry, and you have to motivate young people. And especially the older we get, you better surround yourself with young people that can come in here and go, Coach, you gotta tweet this out. And I'm like, what? You do it. Because I don't want to do all that stuff. You do it for the program. You do it for the team. I tell this funny story. Kramer is my girl. Mackenzie is my Kim. Kramer loves every designer, clothes, shoes, cleats, all that. He'll take an hour in the damn bathroom to get ready to go somewhere. Oh, and don't ever ask him to wear anything that is not designer. He's been like that from the time he was little. And I'm sitting at a game year before last, and he's there, and he, I guess the players, Kramer, and they get in the locker room. He goes, "Ooh, Coach." Kramer, no, he'd be wearing them Jesus shoes. Well, I thought they said Jesus shoes. Well, what is the guy that's married a Kardashian that sells them? What's those shoes called? Yeezys. See, doesn't that sound like Jesus? Yeezys. So stay abreast and surround yourself with young people. Hell, I learned about some shoes I paid for and I didn't even know what they were. Stay involved in young people's lives. You don't have to be a helicopter mom and dad, but just ask a few questions. What are you talking about? So I want to show you a few things that I share with them in the locker room. I tell the players all the time, when you play good and you win, people never remember it. But oh boy, when you're bad, they what? They never forget it. Think about that. For 18 straight years, what this program has done, not just for Baylor, guys, and that's what I want to tell all of you. I don't care where you go to school. I don't care where your allegiance is. My kids didn't go to McGregor, but look where I am tonight. It's important for this community. It's important for all of us. And I challenge you, come to a Lady Bear game. Why would you not? Why would you not? Think about that. Come to one. If you don't like it, do not come back. I don't want to see you. But just come to one game. In fact, I want to say, Kevin, that was part of the deal, wasn't it, Mr. Herring? If I spoke tonight for free, every one of you would buy at least one season ticket, right? Last thing I'm going to share with you. Average players. I don't want average players. Average players, they want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. I'm good where I am. The good players want to be coached. The great ones want to be told the truth. And that truth pill, for all of us, sometimes is hard to swallow. But I want to be great. Yeah, well, how great do you want to be? Great, coach, great. The minute you give them the truth and it's not something on the back like a good pat, you might see them melt. And that may be how your employees are. So if you want to be a great employee or a great leader or a great player, you want your kids to be great, ask them, do you really want the truth? Everybody know who Michael Jordan is? Some players today don't. Hell, I tell them all the time, y'all not going to know who LeBron is in another 20 years. This is a great picture. I was in the Olympics with Michael Jordan. You can't see it back there. But Michael Jordan, when he talked to you, he would look you right in the eyeballs. When Dean Smith would call that four corners offense and he'd want to go score, but he knew he had to win a ball game, get in the four corners, Michael would look that man right in the eyeballs. I had a teacher one time, I kid you not, it was in economics. God knows how I ever made it through that class, the most boring class subject I've ever taken in my life. And the entire time, this is where he stared as he taught his class. So he didn't make me want to go to the class. He didn't motivate me to want to even learn about economics. Look people in the eye. The great people will swallow that truth pill, but look them in the eye. It's only one possession. How many of y'all played basketball growing up? No, I didn't say put tennis shoes on. How many of you played basketball? No, I want you to listen to this. And then I'm walking out that door. I won 4 state championships in high school, and I went to Louisiana Tech. At the time in the early 80s, it was the place to go play women's basketball. We were the UConn in the early 80s. Had a 56, well, UConn broke the win streak. We won 56 straight games. UConn broke it, and I'm sure y'all read about it. And that darn coach, man, I'd come down that floor and I'd whip it behind my back and it'd hit a teammate right in the face and go out of bounds. And I'd get the butt chewing. I was like, it hit her right here, catch the ball. Now think about that. He spent an entire half of freshman season trying to make me understand that's your fault as the point guard, not hers. I said, hit him, coach, it hit her right. No, she's not capable of catching that pass. So next time down the floor, know who you're throwing to and know what they're capable of doing. Now that's hard for kids to understand. He didn't want to take the flair out of my game. He loved that about it. But he said, you got to know what your teammates are capable of doing. It's the same way as a leader. We got to know what you're capable of doing. Don't ask somebody to something they can't do. So I start every year with this in their notebook. And some of you may have heard it before. It's called, "It's Only One Possession." It was only one possession. Why must my coach scream? My poor defense permitted the basket. But what could one hoop mean? As the pass comes my direction and I fumble it into the stands, the coach's voice rings loud and clear. "Catch it with your eyes and your hands." Come on, coach. It is a single possession. Our team's gonna be okay. It's just the first 2 minutes. My gosh, we got all day. At the 10-minute mark, I remember that the center is strong and stout. A putback for two, quite simply due to my failure to turn around and block out. But it's only one possession. I didn't commit a crime. My team's ahead and I'm playing well, and there's plenty of time. As the halftime buzzer is sounding and I watch the ball bank in, I know I will hear from my loving coach of my questionable effort to defend. But it's only one possession. Coach, don't have a heart attack. We're down by one, but we're having fun. I know, we'll get the lead back. The second half mirrors the first. But it's early, it's not a big deal. That my failure to use a pass fake results in an unlikely steal. But quickly, bam, I go back to the other end and I sink a jumper. Man, I'm greeted with high fives and slaps. But the next possession, I give up a layup while suffering a mental lapse. Go ahead, what's the next line? But it's only one possession. Come on, coach, chill out. It's crazy to see you disgusted as you slap the assistant and shout. Victory favors the team making the fewest mistakes. Single possessions are the key. So treat them like gold and do as you're told and play with intensity. I step to the line for a 1-and-1, but I'm having a concentration lapse. The ball soars through the air. Good Lord, it's a brick. I'm afraid the support will collapse. In post-game, I sit at my locker, pondering what more I could do. I realize the value of each possession. What a shame we lost by 2. The day I cannot see that scoreboard, I will retire. The day I lose my intensity and passion as a coach, I will retire. You cannot, in the game of life, achieve anything without enthusiasm. You just can't. Oh yeah, you can go to work every day. Oh, I got a few more years till retirement. Oh, I put in all these years. I'm tired. I can't function like that. I could have that mentality. Hell, I've been doing it 35 years. But I don't function like that. That's not my makeup. I'm going to give everything I have to Baylor University for as long as they will have me. I venture to say, 400 people here, you would be in the minority if a coach was passive to try to motivate you to do better than you think you can. Who wants to play for a coach that stands on the sideline? Does that motivate you? Or does it motivate you when she's on a referee and she's riding her butt because you just got screwed out of a bad call? Or does it motivate you when she high-fives you coming off the floor? Does it motivate you when she's telling you it's only one possession? Because see, I believe when people quit talking to you and people quit trying to motivate you, they've given up on you. I hated when a coach ignored me, because that means they've moved on. And in your work, when your boss quits communicating with you and quits challenging you and quits trying to find things to ring your bell, you better go somewhere else because he's giving up on you. Y'all listening? How many does that plane see? Anybody know? What is that plane? Jim, what's that plane? Turner, what kind of plane is that? Huh? A Falcon? A what? Challenger. What a great name, huh? A Challenger. I challenge you tonight. Huh? Uncle Bill, and Uncle Bill's a regent? Well, he needs to meet me, okay? Don't allow your kids to feel entitled. Don't be a helicopter parent. Hurt with your kids. Talk to your kids. Vent with your kids. But prepare them for life. Because we are not going to be here long. And they have to go on without us. And we can't protect them. I always like to tell my players. They come in there and they got tattoos everywhere and piercings and all this stuff. And I give them information that y'all can't give to your employees because you would be called discriminatory. Right? But I'm their mother for 4 years. And I'm going to tell them things that y'all won't tell them in the real world. When you go for a job interview, get that thing out of your tongue and your lip. You're not going to get that job. They won't tell you that's the reason you didn't get it, but I will tell you that's the reason you won't get it. Cover those tattoos up. People judge you. Is it right? Absolutely no. It is not right. I'm from the pole side of town when you go where I come from. And to think that I'm doing what I'm doing at Baylor University, are you kidding me? But I wanted people to respect me, not just how I looked, but what I did. And I tell them, you set yourself up to be judged. Don't do it. Cover it up. Cover it up. I love you, but I want that English teacher when you go to class to love you and not look at those tattoos and become judgmental of you. I appreciate you letting me lecture and get fired up. I don't get to give many speeches in the summer because, quite honestly, I quit doing them as many as I used to do because some of you have heard me speak a jillion times and I run out of subject material. But thank you, and promise me this. All right, this is heavy duty. Raise your hand if you've never been to a Lady Bear ball game. Come on. Okay? Will you come to one? Will you just buy one ticket? We play UConn here this year. We go to South Carolina. We play, of course, you know, in the Big 12. We've got some good home games. Just come to one game, and that will be what McGregor Chamber has paid me to come speak tonight. That would mean more to me than anything is for you to come to one Lady Bear game, whether you graduated here. We are one community. Always remember that. Sick 'em Bears.